What is up, everybody, and welcome to a Nintendo Guru Reviews episode. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by my good friend Toby Thornton. Toby, how are you doing today?
I'm not too bad, Bobby. How are you?
Very good, very good. Hey, we're gonna review this game, Blossom Tales: The Sleeping King. Both of you and I, probably more you than me. Top-down Zelda, Link to the Past, is our favorite Zelda game of all time. Breath of the Wild kind of moved in a little bit for me, but I think for you, definitely, it's still Link to the Past, correct?
Yeah.
So when this game got announced, this Blossom Tales, it both came up on our radars, and more so you, because you just kept saying, like, Bobby, look at this game, look at this game, look at this game. And then it just hit the Nintendo Switch a couple weeks ago. What's your takeaway right off?
So right away, as soon as you start playing it, you realize they are heavily inspired by A Link to the Past. Mm-hmm. The art style, it's top down. You can see all four of the walls. They're all sort of angled away from you. Yep. It's an action RPG. You've got your bow and arrow, your bombs, and all of that. But they sort of take that and then they sort of layer stuff on top of it.
Yeah.
There's magic spells you can pick up and different abilities and stuff. They haven't taken everything from Zelda, is what I'm trying to say, basically. Yeah. But it's nice to play a game from an independent developer that obviously grew up loving A Link to the Past.
I think it takes some things that we love about Zelda and makes it a little better. And what I mean by that is your bombs, your arrows, it's all run off a magic meter, per se.
Yeah.
Not basically what you could hold in your inventory or your bag, which I love that. I think that is such a nice touch. It gets a little frustrating sometimes when I'm trying to unload arrows at enemies and stuff, and I'm like, I'm missing shots.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a little frustrating, but I love it.
Exactly. A Link Between Worlds did that. They had the magic stamina meter. Yeah. So I don't know if that's where they got that from, but it definitely works. I do feel like the game, in some ways, is a little bit too derivative of Link to the Past. Like, their dungeons, although good, they are missing something for me. They definitely repeat a lot of puzzle types over and over and over throughout the game, and I think the final bosses of each dungeon aren't as memorable as A Link to the Past.
I feel like the final bosses, in my opinion, are much harder than A Link to the Past. It's not the typical 3 hits or 4 hits and you destroy this monster. You could go on for a while in a battle. Yeah. And that's the one thing, even the mini dungeon bosses and then the big final boss, like, I felt like it was like, pull your boots up, strap them on, we're going to have a battle here, we're going to fight. I love that part of it. Like, I thought, like, it wasn't super easy to wipe this game out.
Yeah, I agree. This game is quite challenging, especially the boss fights.
Yes.
And actually some of the puzzles can be very challenging. But I think that the combat gets easier the further you get into it because you upgrade your hearts. Obviously, you can take more damage, but you also pick up a lot of these little flowers and they revive you. They're like fairies. They revive you at full health if you die.
Yes.
You also get potions that you can drink at any time. You're not limited to a certain amount of bottles. You can just hold multiple bottles of the same potion. Yeah. So over time, as you play the game and you work out how to get hold of these items, like they give you a shovel, or you can get a shovel at one point, and you get these little sort of shadows on the ground, and you can dig those up and find potions or money. And actually, the currency is a bit of an issue with this game as well. Like, at first, you're struggling to find enough gold to buy things from the shops. But then later on in the game, you end up with so much more gold than you could ever spend.
And that's, that's something that, although you get less rupees than you do in this game, it's definitely a Zelda take. I remember playing Zelda games and, like, struggling in the early goings. And then as you move forward in the game, you're just inundated with rupees. Like, I look at A Link Between Worlds, and I basically had my money bag, like, maxed the entire time and was barely spending money at all.
I feel that A Link Between Worlds did it better, though, because when you died, if you were just renting items, you had to re-rent them or whatever. Like, there was more to the currency in that game, where A Link to the Past, you did end up with max rupees.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that they could have took in their own direction a bit more. Yeah. Maybe done something a bit more interesting with that.
Well, the thing of it is too is this is their first time out the gates. So the game was made by Castle Pixel LLC. It was published by FDG Entertainment. This is the first time out the gate for this company, and I feel like if this is your first installment, I can't wait for a sequel. Like, I'm really like, as much as I love this game, I feel like I can't wait for more. And I think if we look at games in the past that basically, I don't want to say hijacked, but borrowed the Zelda, top-down Zelda, basically the idea. You look at It'll Do 1 to It'll Do 2, drastic upgrade, big improvements. So that's what makes me excited. Is like, if these guys are working on a sequel to this, I can't wait to see how big it is and how great it is. Because that's the one thing for me that kind of takes away is the game isn't a massive game. It's relatively short compared to other Zelda games. Typically, you go out, you do your thing, there's a whole boatload of dungeons. This one basically has 4 dungeons. Yeah. And it's not as massive. It's like Zelda, you do your first 3 dungeons, and then you have to go out and find 8 pieces of Triforce and all that. So it left a little wanting in that regards. But overall, I was very happy with it. Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like I'm sort of attacking the game a little bit. I'm saying it's not as good as this, not as good as that, but that's because Zelda for me is such a high bar, and they've chosen to be inspired by that and make their game based on that. So I think they should be open to the comparisons there. But this game did totally absorb me and my time. I could not stop playing it, just because there isn't a top-down Zelda on Switch at the moment, and this is, I think, the closest thing to it. There are open-world elements to it. You can explore the overworld in different directions. You can find secret hidden caverns. There's like lots of stuff to do in this game. There's mini games. There's lots of different villages and interesting people to talk to. There's collectibles. Like, they do have a lot of interesting things going on in this game.
So, with that, what's something that you really enjoyed about this game? What's one thing that they did that you felt like, I love this aspect of the game?
I think just the secrets and the secret areas was something that I really loved. Like, it's totally stolen from Zelda. Like, just blowing a hole in the wall or digging something up, pushing a block out of the way and finding something. And then when you get down there, there's like a mini dungeon almost to sort of discover and go through, and you know, I just love that feeling of, oh, wow, what's behind here, or what's down there. Like, really cool.
For me personally, it's storytelling. I love the aspect of a grandfather telling his 2 grandchildren a story, and like, you enter a dungeon or you enter a cave, and like this one cave in particular that just made me smile was, I went in and it was real easy to get the treasure chest. And the granddaughter Lily's like, no. That's not how it was. It was like this. And then his grandson chimes in, and then he chimes in, and all of a sudden these kids are making the game harder and harder and harder, because you realize, like, yes, you're playing the game, but it's all in the grandfather's mind, basically. And the game is happening in the children's imaginations as it's moving forward. I love that aspect of it. Made me feel like it's really, really good.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that is a very unique aspect to this game. You are playing a story that's being told to these kids, and it can change depending on their input, like in the story, and that's really unique, I think.
I agree. I feel like it's something that doesn't happen often, especially, and that's the other thing, like you said early on, like, obviously these guys are fans of Zelda, and it starts off like he's telling a story, and he's getting ready to tell them the story of Zelda. And they cut him off, and they're like, we've heard that a bunch of times, we want to hear it no more. And I was like, that is awesome, man. I was like, that was the moment that hooked me in, and I was like, I'm in. I'm loving this game. So,
and you even start off in a house it's exactly laid out as Link's house in A Link to the Past. You know, you've got the bed in the top left corner, you've got the little table, you've even got pots next to the bed that you have, and the moment I played that, I sent you a message and I was like, Bobby, you've got to play this game, like, because I knew that you would love that.
Yeah, and I did. I fell in love with the game right off. So let's jump into a little bit of the scoring thing. We're gonna go scoring 1 to 10, 1 being horrible, 10 being phenomenal. Where does this fall for you, Toby?
This gets a 9. I'm completely in love with the game. I love how it feels to play. I love the secrets. I love the upgradable items, which we didn't even touch on that. But I still, like you said, there's still a little bit of room for improvement in a sequel to them sort of to take it a little bit in their own direction.
For me, it's a 9 as well, and that's crazy because I was thinking as I'm telling this, it's a 9. Here's the thing for me. If this game was a little bit longer, meaning just more of a mission to happen after the fact, this game would have eclipsed A Link to the Past for me.
Wow.
Because I felt like as I was playing it, I'm like, man, this is the Zelda that I've wanted since Link to the Past. Like, this is the Zelda that is really, really good. And I know it's not Zelda, and that's fine, but because it takes so many cues from Zelda, that's what I was comparing it to in my mind's eye the whole time I was playing. And I felt like it is the best Zelda clone. It crushes It'll Do and It'll Do 2. It kills Oceanhorn in my mind. I feel like this game is the true predecessor or true sequel to a Zelda franchise in my mind. In the top
it is like a spiritual successor.
Absolutely, man. And I think it does it better than all of the rest. And I love what they did with what they've done with this game. I look forward to more, and I cannot wait for more. So for me, it was definitely a 9, and I can't. Anybody that's listening right now, go buy this game. If you listen, it was on the top seller for a while on the eShop. It actually sold more copies in the first couple of days than all that was sold on Steam, which it actually sold on Steam as of March 28th. So it had almost a full year, like 6 months, 7 months jump on the Switch, and it blew the doors off on the Switch. So that's really awesome. Anything you want to add to this, Toby?
I just want to say screw the memory puzzles in this game. This is... I enjoyed them at first, but basically there's you go out into these rooms or these areas. There's 4 different sort of stone pillars, and they got a little symbol on them. And it's one of those things you have to memorize how they light up, and then you have to go and hit them in the order that they lit up. And it starts off pretty easy. You only have to remember like 4 or 5 sequences. They get longer every time as well,
and faster.
Yeah. But then there's a bit where you go to see this wizard guy, and he challenges your memory, and basically it's a marathon. Like, I ended up getting a piece of paper, writing, like, scribbling down the order that they came in. Like, I gave them numbers. It was like top left was 1, top right was 2, bottom left was 3, and bottom right was 4. And as they lit up, I was like scribbling down the numbers because I was like, I've got to remember.
That's funny.
Oh, man.
So for me, that is all. Thank you guys for checking out this review. Thank you, Toby, for being a part of this. Anybody that wants to follow anything that Toby does, check him out over on Twitter at Toby's_take. Myself, I'm at Nintendo Gurus. Thank you all for watching this. Go buy the game. Peace out, Preston.
Ciao.